Hello and welcome back to one of my time in a bottle videos. I have a series on my channel where I talk about my perfume collection, fragrance collection, and breaking it down in different categories, whether it be by the feelings they invoke. So I think the first one in the series was maternal fragrances, and then I think the second one was classification, and the classification that I talked about first was chypre. Um, if you're tuning in for the first time for one of my fragrance videos, I am a collector of fragrances that I love, that invoke certain feelings and memories and remind me of the people that I've lost, but also that magically can create a mood or a feeling, um, that kind of thing. My collection focuses mainly on fragrances that were quite popular in the 1970s, but also is a little more expansive than that. I do have modern fragrances in my collection, and I also have fragrances that are even older than 1970s. I think the oldest bottle of perfume I own is 120 years old. It might even be a little older, 120. I'm not featuring it today, so that's why I'm not going to go any further. But that would be like, I think the oldest bottle I own is 120, and the fragrance is intact. And that is a testament to the quality of ingredients that the quality ingredients that used to be used in perfumery. A department store fragrance or even a niche fragrance that you purchase nowadays will potentially go off within 3 years. You know what I mean? It's a fact of life. They literally don't make them like they used to. Now there's certain, like, regulations. There's certain ingredients that can no longer be used in perfumery, and this is not the kind of video for me to go into that. But suffice it to say that there are some ingredients that had to be replaced in existing fragrances because those ingredients became outlawed for whatever reason, whether they were carcinogenic, were found to be carcinogenic, or were found to be really allergenic. So, for instance, an ingredient like oak moss. Oak moss is the base of. Oak moss is in the base of all my favorite fragrances, of my favorite classification, which is chypre. But oak moss is very allergenic to a lot of people. So it's not used, and like in real oak moss is no longer used. It's a synthetic. And some companies make a better synthetic than others. And it's not price point either, my friends, because in a previous video I talked about Halston and the original fragrance by Halston. And it is an oak moss balm. And I have a current formulation which is very comparable to vintage. So if whoever is making Halston right now, which I don't know if it's Elizabeth Arden or Five Star Perfumes, I'm not sure. Whoever's making it has a really good a synthetic oak moss, or they're slipping in the real thing. Who knows? It's also possible, which I've never heard anyone mention this who talks about perfume. It's also possible that when we're buying these like vintage fragrances that are still available, like down market kind of thing, that we are indeed getting the original formula. That someone found a Tamijan somewhere, like a big, keg of it somewhere, and they bottled it and they're selling it at $10 a bottle just to get rid of it. So we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. That's enough of that. Let's get to the fragrances. Today, if you see from the title that I will be placing in the description box or in the subject line, I want to share with you fragrances from my collection, and I'll be sharing 6 fragrances from my collection that are my second favorite classification, which is spicy Orientals, the witch's brew of fragrances. All the fragrances I'm going to share today, they're not the same, but they would be the kind of fragrance where, oh, you know, like if you like this, you'd love this, or if you like this, you might like this, right? Because they're all in the same classification. Excuse me. Okay, so let's begin. The first one I want to share with you is one that I've had since, I want to say 1983. So this is my original, this is not my original bottle, but this is the bottle I had in 1983. And it's Taboo by Dana. And now I realize that on my list, I have it down by chronological order, but I'm going to go in the order that I want to talk about it, okay? So Taboo by Dana. This is, if you go to Walmart, you'll probably see this with the beautiful painting on the back. Do they attribute the painting? No. Do I remember what it's called? No. I'm sorry. Terrible. But it comes in the violin bottle. There is a distinct difference between the Taboo that you find today out at Walmart, for instance, and the Taboo that I bought in 1983, and the Taboo that was sold in 1932. Now, I have a bottle from 1932. But I didn't bring it. It's in my cupboard. I brought these for today. Sorry. But the 1932, this bottle is very much the bottle from 1932 that I own is this size, this shape, but it's quite big. It's probably about this big. It's probably a 4-ounce bottle, and the cologne is lighter in color, but that's because it has not oxidized. Because my bottle from 1932 has a seal on it, and I haven't broken the seal, and I probably will not until I don't know. It's like a fancy bottle of wine or fancy bottle of booze, right? Like alcohol or whatever, or cognac or something, right? Something special happens. Oh, let's open that bottle. Well, same kind of thing with vintage fragrance. All right, Taboo. So I've made notes for myself because I get flustered when I start talking about things like in front of the camera. Not because I had to look up my favorite fragrance. I know it quite well. So Taboo by Dana was created in 1932, and the nose of Taboo name is Jean Carl. So, this is like drugstore fragrance created by a well-known nose of the time. Jean Carl was instructed by Dana. Now Dana, nowadays we know Dana as like Walmart perfume, but Dana was a great fragrance perfume house in the day, 100 years ago. So Taboo by Dana was created, I said, like 1932 by Jean Carl, and Jean Carl was instructed to create a fragrance for a whore, un parfum de puta. Thus, Taboo was created, sensual and shocking. This, to me, is the epitome of the witch's brew. I have other ones here, but this to me is my favorite. It is spicy, it's sweet, it's fleshy, it smells like warm skin. Not this one. This one I'll tell you in a little bit what it smells like. Well, this one too. It smells like warm skin. It smells like spices, like cola and cinnamon, and there's a tiny bit of cumin to give it a tiny bit of that BO kick, you know what I mean? A little bit of BO to make everything else smell even better. The original had civet in it, and this is, if you're looking for, if you're having that craving, oh, I want to smell witchy, I want to smell, this is very very earthy, but it's very sensual. It's a very, how can I put it? It's not maternal, although there's a whole generation of people's moms that wore it, and all my kids, their mom wears it. You know what I mean? So maybe to their nose it smells maternal. It's not, but it's not. It's quite carnal. It's beautiful. Now, this Now it's still available as an eau de parfum. So around Christmas time when they bring out all the golden oldies, or as the younger generation would call the moldy oldies, I resent that. The eau de parfum, if you can get your hands on the eau de parfum, and I know it's regularly available in the UK. I don't know about the United States, but I know that in Canada it comes out around Christmas. The eau de parfum concentration, modern concentration, is closer to the original. It has what I affectionately call skank. It has a bit of that, smells a little bit like garbage, and it's very addicting kind of thing. Okay. Taboo by Dana. This has always been by Dana, and it will always, and it not will always be. I don't know. I can't predict the future. Or maybe I can. This is still being created by Dana. This is what you could, if you could get yourself a bottle of, like this at Walmart, Walmart, drugstores, wherever. Come on, it's very. This this is the third one. I've gone through 3 of these. No, I've gone through 2. This is my third one. I may have a backup left. I don't know. This one's fine. This one I don't see it all the time, but when I see it, I always pick one up because this is my favorite. Of all things, my favorite summer scent. This formulation, right here, with this on the back, this label on the back, like the painting, which I can't remember the name of, or the artist. Sorry, I really should have prepared better, but you know what? These videos were going to be like 3 hours long if I was going to say everything I had to say about it, so I'm trying to condense it. This one is a little different. What I love about this one and why it's my favorite summer fragrance is that I describe this one as when you spray it on, it smells like ivory soap. So the top notes are all ivory soap, and then the dry down is a velvety cola scent. Oh my God, people. Now, I don't know, because I don't live where it's humid anymore. I live where it's dry. The summers are hot and dry. And this is definitely where I live, the climate to wear these spicy Orientals in the summer. When it's hot and dry, it really brings out the best of these fragrances. But it's sweet, and I kind of remember that when I lived where it was muggy in the summer, I don't know. I don't think this was a thing. But anyway. Taboo. Next fragrance. So let me cross it out so I don't retread over the same ones. So that was Taboo. The next one I want to talk about is also by Dana. Now, this one is Toujours Moi. This bottle is from the 90s. And this bottle was still available, like this packaging here, was still available by Dana off their website. See, I live in Canada. I can't order anything from the Dana website. They don't ship to Canada. But if you live in the United States, check out the Dana website because you'll probably be able to find some really nice Taboo and Toujours Moi stuff. Toujours Moi was created in 1923 by a French perfume house called Corday, or Corday is how it's spelled, but Corday. And that was in 1923 that it was created in France by Corday. In 1924 it came to the United States. But anyway, I digress. This one is, and like, again, all the fragrances that I'm talking about today, purchased by me. I forgot. All purchased by me. None of this is sponsored. Mind you, if someone were to contact me and say, hey, would you like some vintage perfume? I'd be saying, yeah. But this was all purchased by me. And they're all pretty hard to wear. These are a little difficult. This one I'm going to spray because this one, I'm not wearing any fragrance today and I'm in the mood for some Toujours Moi. Yes, I smoosh my wrists together. So there's a whole thing about fragrance purists and collectors and perfumistas. They say, oh, you spray it, you're supposed to leave it alone because doing this smashes the molecules. I want to smash the molecules because I want to skip the top notes and get straight to the middle and base notes, but that's just me. Side note, all right, basta. This is 100 years old. Not this bottle. This is a modern bottle. But you know, you could find the original formulation by Corday on eBay or fragrance sites, whatever. Like, you know, or even at thrift stores, antique stores, whatever. This and this one as well. Like, you know, Taboo. Like all these really old fragrances nowadays. I think the niche houses are starting to put them out as if there's something new. Yeah. Because, you know, for the last 30 years, it's been gourmand, aquatics, fruity-florals, fragrances that don't smell like perfume, clean, stuff that smells like food, fruit. Florals have always been in. Soliflores were very Victorian. Soliflore means that, like, the fragrance of one flower that is the most dominant fragrance, a scent in the fragrance. Back to this one. This one smells like honey and leather. Yeah. So honey and leather. It's 100 years old, this formula. The original, I've smelled the original. I used to have a tiny bottle of the one by Corday. This one comes close enough. I'm sorry, like if you can get your hands on one of these for $10, it's totally worth it if this is your jam, because it'll be the best $10 you ever spent. This is beautiful. Again, what's it smell like? Honey and leather. Toujours Moi, Forever Me. By Dana. This one currently. All right. My next fragrance. This is an honorable mention. Is an honorable mention because I don't have one to show you. Much to my chagrin, people, this makes me sad that I don't have one. And it is Tigress by Faberge. Tigress by Faberge was created in 1938. It has a prominent cinnamon note, very spicy, very witch's brew, beautiful. My favorite formulation is the one that comes in the bottle with the fuzzy, like the fake fur, like the fake fur cap with the tiger stripes on it. That one's my favorite formulation. I don't have it. I used to have it. I used it up, and I don't have the empty bottle, which makes me sad. I wish I'd kept the bottle. I also wished I would be able to source another one. That one's really hard to find. I've had zero luck. And when I have seen it on eBay, I'm sorry. People are insane what they're charging for their stuff on eBay, and I don't have that. I don't have that kind of I don't make that kind of bank to be able to gamble on a 50-year-old bottle of perfume that it's still good, that it'll arrive to me intact, and, you know, $200 US or whatever, $100 US. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. Tigress by Faberge. If you know someone who has some, if you come across it in your travels, an estate sale, at an antique store, at a thrift shop, have a sniff. It is also a witch's brew. Beautiful. Next. The next one I want to talk about, is also 100 years old. Oh, look at that. Okay, this one really is 100 years old. Next year, it'll be 100 years old. And it's, so I'll pronounce it the way it's spelled, but Habanita, the Molinard. And it's Habanita, the Molinard. Okay, lady from Havana. This fragrance, first of all, I love that I have this bottle, okay, because it's been repackaged. It's a few years now that it's been repackaged. I love this bottle. I'm always on the lookout for this bottle. I'm always on this cap is not the original cap. The original cap was plastic, and I dropped it, and when I went to look for it, I stepped on it. This is from a Clinique bottle a bottle of Clinique Aromatics elixir that I had finished. It fits perfectly. And it looks better than its original cap. Just saying. This was created in 1921 originally to scent cigarettes. It's freaking beautiful. And this one too, and so it smells like tobacco. It smells like tobacco, smells like violets. Like that's those are the tobacco, leather, and violets is the prominent scent that I get from this. The prominent scent notes I get from this. There's also some fruit in here and whatever, and it does have a bit of a baby powder kind of thing. Like it's, it smells like you got out of a nice hot bath. You put on some baby powder. You light up a cigarette. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's a bit of smoke in there too. Lovely. Again, I'm always on the lookout for the bottle that was created. The bottle was created by Lalique. And it was recent. A few years ago, it was repackaged into in a more modern looking bottle, which made me sad. I'm always on the lookout for any of these bottles. I'm always on the lookout for the splash bottle too. Again, I regret recycling these bottles when I finish them. Now this is my last one. This is the only one I have. I'm hoping to get my hot little hands on another one, but I'm not holding my breath. But this, beautiful, Witch's Brew. Another one. This one, yeah. I think I described it, what it feels like. The next one is controversial. The next three actually are a bit controversial. And, okay, they all kind of are. This one was number one, controversial. Taboo, you go on the fragrance boards or any kind of makeup, like on Makeup Alley or review boards and stuff like that, people will say, oh, it stinks like Taboo. Stinks like Taboo. Taste is personal. It's subjective. But good taste could be defined. But anyway, I digress. The next one is a fragrance that people right away will use it to insult another fragrance. They'll use it in the context of, oh, that's old lady stuff. Yet, I assure you that if you were to wear it and go somewhere, you'll get nothing but compliments. Why? Because it's iconic. It's iconic and it's American. Youth Dew. Youth Dew was created in 1953, and the nose who created this is Josephine Catapano. This is, I love the story of Youth Dew, and I'm not going to go tell a long story, just a short one. When Estee Lauder wanted to get her fragrance sold in a department store, she walked into a department store and nobody wanted to talk to her. In 1953, to give you an example, I think it's Ambush was really popular in 1953. A lot of these fragrances that smell like Toujours Moi were popular in 1953. The Orientals were popular, but this is a bomb. And she, this was a bomb. This is a bomb. It was really unique for the time because it was a fragrance that a woman would buy for herself, was the point that this was created. Prior to this fragrance, women would receive fragrance as a gift from the men in their lives, or the women in their lives. But this is the first fragrance created for a woman to buy for herself. And the original formulation of this was a bath oil, which, oh my God, I have a tiny little bottle from 1953. Yeah, I have a tiny little bottle from 1953 that I don't dare use because I only have a little. It's a tiny little bottle of the bath oil, and they stopped carrying the bath oil in Canada. Guts, seriously, it's like I'm pretty sure I saw on the U.S. Estee Lauder site you could still get the bath oil, and if you can, I suggest you get it. Use it in your bath or use it on your skin as a perfume. It is stunning. This is, and all these fragrances, they have one thing in common. They're for women. They're not for girls. They are for women. And you have to have a certain You have to have a certain amount of gravitas to pull these off. And it has nothing to do with age either. You can be like 19 years old, 15 years old, and have the gravitas and the personality to pull these fragrances off. These witches brew, all the way to like 90. Okay, so let me describe this one. This one is powdery. This one smells like it's a bath powder. The bath powder smells exactly the same because it is a powder. This smells like it's a powder, and it smells like cola, spices, oak moss. It's very loamy. It smells like earth and the roots in the earth and the soil, and the whole cola. There's a bit of that carnal jasmine scent, indolic jasmine. This warms beautifully on skin. This doesn't smell anywhere as good in the bottle or in the air as it does once it's had time to warm on your skin. I was going to tell you the story of, so Estee Lauder walks into a department store. I can't remember which one it is. It's like I read all these I read Helena Rubinstein's story and Estee Lauder's story. All I remember is that to get the attention of the marketing person at the department store, she dropped the bottle of her bath oil, of Youth Dew bath oil, for it to spill. And as the fragrance just permeated the store, all the women turned around, the men turned around, asking, what is that, what is that, what is that? And the rest is history. Estee Lauder history. Now, current Estee Lauder, I won't even go there. Vintage Estee Lauder. Beautiful. And this is a fragrance that people say, oh, so disgusting. You do. Like, go to any fragrance site, or go to any like review site. And, you know, the younger women are saying, oh, that stinks like Youth Dew, or I tried this on and it stinks. I wear this, everywhere I go, all I get is compliments. The kind of compliments I get, of course, from the younger people is like, oh my God, did you shop at Lush? Like, you know, do you use stuff from Lush? All right, because what's in here? Patchouli, orange, cinnamon. People, the original Lush store fragrance. Smells like incense. Smells witchy. The original Witch's Brew, people. Don't knock it until you try it. And when you try it, don't like, none of these fragrances you could do this, huh? No. All of these fragrances is one spritz and then let it warm up on your skin at least an hour, and then go back and see. Oh my God, that smells so good. That's a Toujours Moi that I'm wearing. Okay. Youth Dew. The next Witch's Brew, another controversial one. This is another controversial one. The last two are really controversial because people who wore them wore too much. And, you know, these are all fragrances that you really have to, like, go easy. This one, the next one I'm going to feature, was created by was created for Yves Saint Laurent, the fashion house, in 1977, and it took 3 people to make this one. There's 3 noses attached to this fragrance: Jean Amick, Jean-Louis Suzac, and Raymond Chaillard. And it's, sorry, I had it backwards, Opium. This is the original Opium from 1977. This is not black opium that's currently being sold. That's an abomination. It's I'm sorry, but it's an abomination. And I'm sorry if you love that fragrance. It's okay to love that fragrance, but recognize that it is not art. The fragrances I'm talking about today are art. They will always be art. That black opium was created for the fashion house of Yves Saint Laurent to have mass appeal. And fragrances that have mass appeal usually have no soul. And black opium has no soul and has a freaking hefty price tag. for what it is. Basically something you could pick up at Bath and Body Works. All right? You could pretty much pick it up at Bath and Body Works, Walmart. You could mix a couple of body sprays together and get the exact same effect, and they may even last longer, because black opium doesn't. I'm sorry if I hurt you by what I say. I apologize. Like I said, I'm talking about art. I'm not talking about mass appeal. This is art. One of my most favorite entertainers, this was her signature scent, Bolita. This is, if you can get your hands on the original Opium, I recommend you do. This one is actually not that old. When I looked up the batch code is, there's a number at the bottom of fragrances that you could look up on a website, checkfresh.com, or like there's a couple of websites you could do this to see when they were created. This one appears to be only about 12 years old, and it is true to the original formula. This is where, and because of the bottle and everything, the older bottles from the 70s and 80s had like gold on the cap with the YSL monogram here. And also the perfume and eau de parfum Opium concentrations came in beautifully Oriental looking encased bottles. This kind of color, like a cinnabar color bottle encased, like encasement for the bottle and all that. This is a clove and carnation bomb. This is clove, carnation, cardamom, coriander. What's interesting about this fragrance is that I always find it a little baseless. It doesn't have a vanilla base. It doesn't have a sandalwood base. This is all spice. So you either have to have the body chemistry that gives it a base, or you have to fake it. And I brought my two friends. So with this one, to get, if you if you put this on and you find that it falls a little flat, it's because it's all spice. That's why it falls a little flat. If you try this on and you think that you want it to be deeper, you expect, you want something a little creamier, you want it to have like a creamier base, or a warmer base. You want to warm it up, because this could be a little, it's odd, but it's got like these fiery spices, but it could smell a little cold on your body chemistry, depending on personal body chemistry, right? A great base for this, if you're finding that, it also, if you have dry skin and you apply this on, this one you have to go easy too, huh? Because this one is, it's like, it's powdery, like spices, like ground spices. It's like it seems to float around you like poof, like a poof of spices from your spice cabinet. To ground it a little bit, and I'm finally going to get to the point, use a body lotion. Now, this comes, or it used to come, I don't know. Again, the availability here is pretty scant where I live. I don't, and online also is kind of hard to find, because Yves Saint Laurent has put all their eggs in the mass appeal basket, and it's all about their new stuff that sucks. But anyway, this, if you have this and you're thinking, well, I hang on to it because it's iconic, but it doesn't really work for me, finally gonna get to the point, people. You apply a body lotion first. Which body lotion really makes a difference. Now, this does come in a cream concentration if you find it somewhere, but it still doesn't give you what you need to ground it. To ground this beautifully, Palmer's Cocoa Butter Body Lotion. Now, I was appalled. I checked my closet. I checked my bathroom. I was appalled to learn that I'm completely out of Palmer's Cocoa Butter Lotion, because it's my favorite. So I guess I'm gonna have to go shopping. but that one has a very chocolatey, well, it smells like chocolate, Palmer's Cocoa Butter Lotion. That chocolatey cocoa butter lotion base, beautiful with Opium. What I did have in my closet, which is better than nothing, is Senses by Avon, the vanilla lotion. This has been just recently discontinued. People, I've broken up with Avon. Not that you needed to know, but I had to say it. I've broken up with them because they've discontinued everything that I love. But anyway, a vanilla-based lotion. But don't use one of those Bath and Body Works fucked up vanillas there that have like, weird base notes and stuff like that. You don't want it to mess up your perfume. You want something that just smells like straight vanilla as a lotion. It has to be a lotion to give it that creamy grounding effect. I brought this because I have one stick left of this stuff. I used to get this stuff when I'd go cross-border shopping into the United States. Oh my God, it's cocoa butter, right? Just straight up cocoa butter. See, my dad turned me on to this stuff. I love this stuff. Anyways, lip balm, whatever. If you can get one of these, you apply it to your skin before you apply your fragrance. Oh my God! But the lotion, the Palmer's Cocoa Butter Lotion, good stuff with Opium. And like I said, not for the faint of heart, not for children. These are fragrances for women or men, not girls, not boys. All right, the last one. We're almost there, people. The last one is a fragrance that was created in 1985. 1985, so this is the most modern one. By Jean Guichard for Calvin Klein. Obsession. Obsession is still widely available. Now, this concentration, this is like from 1985. This is, I think it's a cologne concentration. Yeah, this is cologne. So, there. These, what they in the industry call the kidney-shaped bottle, or perfume, perfume aficionados on websites and stuff like that will say the kidney-shaped bottle. I gotta tell you, I guess it kinda looks like a kidney, but anyway, I digress. This vanilla, leather, a little bit of incense. It was it was pretty wild when it came out in 1985. 1985 was was the 80s with their powerhouse fragrances. This indeed was a powerhouse fragrance, but it was completely different from the powerhouse florals that were out in the 80s. This one stood out as something different. This is one of my all-time favorites as well. This is one of my top fives. But this one, this too, a real witch's brew, applied with a light hand, very bewitching, just gorgeous, if it works with your body chemistry. Of the fragrances that I talked about today, if you go out testing and stuff like that, you're bound to find at least one of these will work on you, because they're it's a body chemistry thing. It's also a personal taste kind of thing, right? So this is, if you like vanilla and leather and musks, more skin type scents that are, all these fragrances have another thing in common. They're genderless. So they're genderless, but they do require that you're not, that you have a certain personality to carry it off, a certain, like I said, gravitas. Has nothing to do with age. It has all to do with how you carry yourself, how you comport yourself. Um, and yeah, they're not old lady perfumes. Capiche? All right. So, to recap, Opium by Calvin Klein. Not Opium. Obsession by Calvin Klein. Staring at the Opium box. Opium, Yves Saint Laurent. If you could get yourself this formulation, this is eau de toilette. It's strong enough. If you get eau de parfum, or there's the modern bottle that's currently available. I've seen it on the Sephora website. The eau de parfum formulation is a bit closer to the eau de toilette of the 70s and 80s. Habanita by Molinard. This is the one that was originally created to scent cigarettes. Violet, leather, beautiful. Toujours Moi by Dana. This one, I don't know if it's still in production by Dana, but you could potentially find this at your local Walmart, because I think I got this at Rexall, this bottle, a couple of years ago. So it's probably still floating around out there. Youth Dew, Estee Lauder. And the bath oil, highly recommend, even to wear it directly on skin as a fragrance. The honorable mention, Tigress by Faberge, in the splash bottle with the fake fur with the tiger stripes on it. Beautiful. And last but not least, Tabu, un parfum de puta. Bewitching fragrances that all are witches' brews. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're here. Please, in the comments down below, what's a fragrance that you love that invokes witch's brew? Another honorable mention, I think, no, I didn't talk about it, so I'm not going to mention it. You're out there, what's your favorite witch's brew of a fragrance? Do you love any of the ones that I talked about? Do you wear any of the ones that I talked about? Are there fragrances that I did not talk about today that you know and love and wear that are witch's brew? I want to know. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day.